Well, welcome day 67 with Silver the Mustang here. And I wanted to get a video made today because it's about to get cold here in Utah and different things, so he may get a couple of weeks off. So I wanted to get this done today. Since the last video, he's had 4 or 5 more rides and some groundwork and some different things. But I have 2 things I hope to do today that I have not done with him. And the first one is to put hobbles on him. And he has had somebody pick up his feet, and I've done it too, where you put a rope, just take the lead rope and put it around his leg and lift it up and pull it. So he's had that done, and I'm going to go ahead and put this big cotton rope here around his fetlock. And I did this again yesterday just to check it out, where you kind of pull on this foot like this and kind of lead him a little bit by the foot. And I did this with all 4 feet, and I think he'd had it done before, so he handled that. So you need to do that before you start getting ready for hobbles. And I believe that every horse, and I mean every horse, needs to know how to be hobbled for all kinds of reasons that you might need them to stand still, whether it's grazing in the mountains or just don't have a place to tie them up, all kinds of reasons. And plus it teaches them to restrict movement. So I'm going to start off, and let me try to turn him around here where you can see what we're doing. I'm going to start off with a 1-legged hobble. And I've got this big soft cotton rope here. So what I'm going to do, and since I've got the saddle, and let me get the saddle tight, I'll just use the saddle horn. There's a couple different ways you can do this. But what I'm going to do is ask him to pick his leg up, and then I'm going to just crank it around this saddle horn here and let him hold that there for a minute. And he's a pretty easygoing little fella, so he usually handles things. By the way, my wife sent off to the University of Texas, I believe it was, and had his DNA tested. And of course, these wild horses are basically, they're like mutts, you know, they're a little bit of everything. But his top, according to the University of Texas, his top breed is a Hackney pony, and then a Hanoverian jumping horse from Germany, and then what was the other one? Caspian pony from Iran. So, you know, who knew? I would never have thought of that, but that's what the DNA said. Okay, so he's handling that pretty well. He kind of wiggled a little bit, but nothing serious. So I'm going to let it down for a minute, just to let him know that he did pretty well. Good. All right, good job. Good job. And I tell you, you know, he just doesn't do very much wrong when we're filming. The only thing he's really done, and it wasn't wrong, but the first time I took him out to lope him in the desert, and we were with another horse, when we put him into a lope, it spooked him, and he kind of bolted to the side and kind of ran off a little bit, just because it scared him a little bit, and that was it. It wasn't anything big deal. And since then I've loped him and he's been okay. So that's kind of like the worst thing this horse has ever done. All right, now with that leg up, what I'm going to do is move him just a little bit and show him that he can do something he doesn't know he can do, and that is hop around on 3 legs. Okay, now see what we're doing here? We're restricting his flight. He can't flee. And that, think about it, if you're a wild horse and you can't run away, you're going to die. So his instinct is telling him, I need to be able to run away, and I cannot, but he needs to trust me. And he's doing pretty well. Good, he just let out a big breath right then and relaxed. So I'm going to take this off and do the other side. Okay, so I want him to get used to having both legs restricted. Let me take this off, bud, before I try to hobble him. Okay, and I'll come around to this side. Good boy. Put this on this foot. And this kind of thing, hobbling, I could have done this at any time during his training. We could have done this in the first week if we wanted to. I just really didn't even think about it until the other day. So we've got the right foot up here. Now I'll move him a little bit. Okay, and he's going to struggle. And a lot of horses, domestic horses and all, will be a lot worse than that. I've seen them rear up and flop around and do a lot of things because it scares them so much. But he just kind of figured it out. Let me move him once more. Good boy. That's really good. Excellent. Okay, now let's take this off. Good job. Good job. And if I didn't have him saddled, what I would do, the way to do that if you don't have a saddle on, is to put the foot up like this and just wrap this rope around his leg 4 or 5 times like that, and then tie it off. And it accomplishes the same thing. Okay, so he's ready for hobbles. And I went digging around in the tack room and I cannot find my good chain hobbles. So that's okay. I don't know, they're somewhere. We'll just take this cotton rope, and this will work just as well as chain hobbles. So what I'm going to do, get him to kind of square up his feet a little bit here. Good. All right. So I'll just take this rope here, and I'll do this a little higher up. I'm going to do it right there. And there are different ways to hobble horses. It's not just one way to do it. Then I'm just going to twist this rope about 8 or 10 times like that, and bring it here and just tie a regular bow knot like you were tying your shoe. Okay, just like that right there. Okay. All right, so he's hobbled, but he probably does not know that yet. And the first thing I'm going to ask him to do, hobbled, with his front legs hobbled, is to move his hindquarters. And he may get a little nervous about it. And you notice I've got him hobbled pretty wide. You could put his front legs closer together than that, but on the beginning, first time, I don't want to make it really, really difficult for him. So I'm just going to walk around here, and he knows this cue really well. It's all right, bud. And just ask him to move his hip. Okay. Good. Do it again. He's getting really good at that. Good boy. We'll do the same thing on this side. He's just moving it for me. Nice. Before I even asked. Okay. All right. Now, he really can't move. I'm going to ask him to kind of move over a little bit, and he'll figure out really quickly he can't really do much. Okay, and I'm not going to keep giving him the cue because he really can't move. All right, and that's it. We've just taught him to hobble. And now that I've done it a couple, this first time, then every few days, whenever I think about it, after I've ridden him or something, instead of tying him up to unsaddle him, I'll just hobble him and leave him there for a little while. See him licking his lips? He's a pretty good boy.